Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anthropology 120, Biological Anthropology. This is the fall semester of 2021, and my name is Professor Mercer. I'll be teaching the course this term. There is another section that's designed to help you in this course. It's called the Getting Started sort of section, and that link is on the homepage. It's a good idea maybe to have a brief look at that one, but most of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, in this video, is just a reiteration, of that getting started sort of brief introduction. So, it might be a good idea to look at it, but it's actually not essential. So you can start from here. All right. Well, the first thing I want to do is have a look at the syllabus, so see what the course is about, what it takes to succeed in the class, some of the requirements, how you're graded, and things of that nature. So how about going over to the left-hand side of the Canvas, on your links page, and click on the syllabus and bring that up. So I'm going to pretend I am pausing here for a second, and I'll let you bring it up, and you come right back. So pause the video. Okay, I'm back. All right. So when we're looking at the course syllabus, at the very top is some very important stuff, and that's how to get a hold of me. There are several different ways. One's campus email. It's not necessarily the best way to get a hold of me, simply because I get a lot of email through through regular campus email. Administration stuff, external stuff coming in, colleagues, and I go through it one by one, and finally I get to yours. So that does delay my responses. But if you send me messages, or discussion material, through the inbox, the Canvas inbox, right? You go to the inbox over here on the side and use the messenger built in. That's the thing I check the most often, and only students use that, right? And that's my priority. So that's really a great way. And another way that's equally as good is just regular voice or text. And there's my number, 925-335-6298. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., no problem. I am always near my phone. If you want to call me, talk about the material, have any questions or concerns, help you study anything, let me know, right? Or you can send me a text. I'm just not the best text message person, but give me a little time to reply and I'll do it. I'm getting better. But either way are great. But the text thing. Weekends are good too. I don't have it listed there on weekends because I'm not reliable on the weekends. But I'm doing so many activities. I'm out doing riding my bike or playing tennis or something. I'm not staring at my phone. So I don't want students to feel bad if I don't get back to you for an hour or two. And that's probably how long it would be. If you give me a text 3 o'clock on Saturday or Sunday, it might be 4 or 5 o'clock before I give you your return, a text return, right? So just let you know that because it's activities, it's not that I'm just trying to stonewall people. I'm not working on Saturdays. No, I know Saturdays and Sundays are great study days for you guys, and they're invaluable in many ways. So I'm going to try to be there for you as much as I possibly can. All right. Next off, what the course is about. There's a course introduction. It's the same stuff you're going to get in the course catalog or even the course description. Essentially as you're reading through the schedule. This is more of an elaborate format for it. And really, we can shorten it down to this. Biological anthropology is the study. It's an ology of science. It's the scientific study of what it is to be human, right? From a biological point of view. What are the underlying supporting things, the biological things that produce the glorious human and all of its behavioral attributes, And why is it that we behave and do the things that we do? What are we evolved to do? What sort of changes have we gone through and why? And how long has this evolutionary process been going on? And how are we connected to the rest of life on Earth all the way back to the very beginning of Earth, right? So it's a pretty good undertaking, but a fascinating voyage, I call it. And that's really what I've tried to do in designing this course, is make it a fantastic, fascinating voyage through time to the arrival of things we care about very much, and that's our own lives. All right, okay. Now, through the syllabus, you're going to be looking mostly at stuff on how to communicate with each other, which really means, I'm going to have a chat application open. I'm going to be leaving the people stuff open. So if you see people that you know in class or you want to study with them, you're free to chat back and forth and use a people locator, right? Especially if you have friends, it's always a great way to reconnect. So that's on you to be able to do that kind of stuff, right? There's some videos here on how to get going in Canvas if you've never used Canvas before, right? And some other pointers towards other student resources, if you actually need help, particularly with financial aid or disability resources. Right? The stuff you're probably really sort of concerned with are the requirements, how you're going to be graded in the course, and the stuff you're going to need to have, and which are essential and which are not. Let's go right to the required text. All right, so down towards the middle of the syllabus, you'll see required text. So the course has two different components, right? And technically, there's a lecture component and a laboratory component, and they're put together. But you need to have sort of separate material for each. Right? So what do you need? For the lecture component, right off the bat, you'll need one small paperback book, and it's called The Story of the Human Body by Daniel Lieberman. Okay. When I said right off the bat, try to get it within the next 6 weeks. We're not going to be utilizing that for 6 weeks. Okay? That's the only thing you need to purchase for the lecture. I have a little reference book there. It's called Explorations. It's actually an online textbook that biological anthropology community put together for students. And that's a great place to go to reference stuff. You need a little bit of help to clarify, some terms or some stuff you're not quite, aware of. So a nice little online reference resource for you. Consider that as a specialized encyclopedia. Now for the lab, you're going to need two things. The first is a laboratory workbook, and that's by Soluri and Agarwal. But what you got to make sure is you get the second edition, okay? The first edition won't work. It's just not going to do it. So the second edition, because they're very different labs, right? It would be like working at a completely different textbook. That's how different they are. Normally, edition changes between books are like tiny little things, and the publisher's just trying to make money. This one was actually overhauled pretty seriously in the second edition, so make sure you get that. We'll start that one in about 2 weeks. You got a two or 3 week lag time, so try to find that one at a pretty good price, okay? If you can, electronic or hard copy, whatever you choose, it won't matter. Now, the next one you need is A Story of Earth, another small paperback. I've seen that one out there for about $8 before. You'll need to get that as soon as you can. You can use the hardback paper, the softback paper book, or you can use the online. Of course, it makes no difference whatsoever, right? But get that one quick. We're going to be jumping right into that one. All right, so as far as course requirements are concerned, a brief rundown on how grading is put together, right? There are 405 total points. That's combination of lecture and laboratory, right? 300 of those points come from lecture, 100 points come from lab. And the reason that reflects the actual unit breakdown. Technically, the lecture component is 3 units, and the laboratory is 1 unit, and that's the way I break the point scale down, 300 to 100, right? All right, now here's the thing. This is how you're graded. There are 4 components to the lecture course. There are 4 quizzes. That's the lecture. Each one of those is worth 100 points, right? So there's 400 points, all right? What I do is I drop the lowest of your first 3 midterms. So whatever the first 3, not the final, but the first 3, whatever the lowest, I just drop it like it never happened. All right, and that doesn't even get counted in your score. You're graded on the 300 points, right? Those 300, your top 3. But you have to take the final lecture quiz, and as you should, because I give you a week to answer one question. It's a really easy one, right? So everyone, you want to keep that because that's going to boost your GPA totally if it's not already good in the classroom where you wanted it. All right, okay. That's 300 points in the course. The rest of the 100 comes from the laboratory stuff. For the laboratory stuff, you also have quizzes. There's just 2 of them, and they're not worth a lot. And the laboratory is very low stress, right? There's only 2 15-point quizzes. We've got a couple of labs we're doing out of the laboratory notebook. Those are 4 points each, and you get 32 points out of that. Relatively complete labs, you get full points for them. And then we have a project in which we're doing, which is called an Earth Timeline Project, and you're all going to be constructing a timeline of Earth, right? From the very beginning of Earth and the change that happened in Earth and life leading up to glorious humans, which you're going to be doing. A fun, easy project. I'll be telling you exactly how to do it. We do it electronically. I got tons of examples. That's not due to the end of the class, the very last day. That's 38 points. So when you put that together, that's the 100 points. Along with the lecture component, there's the entire course right there. Okay. I want to remind you, though, about adds and drops. Make sure you get out of the class if you start running out of time. This is a 4-unit class, and it's typical of 4 units. I mean, I've been a student. I was a student for so long. I know how hard a class is. I know when ones are really out of control. I know ones are way too light. This one just sits right in the middle, right? Not too hard, not too easy. It's just right in the middle. And that's the way I've consciously designed this class, right? It's going to give you a good experience and a lot of knowledge, but it's not going to kill you. With that said, man, if things change in your life, things are going crazy, and you need to bail out of a class and say, if you decide this is the one it's going to be, I don't know why you would, but if you do that, then make sure you get out before, it's too late, okay? Because they get a permanent grade on your web record, or we have to do all of the sort of crazy stuff to get you out, right? Which is not pleasant to do. So pay attention to that. Okay. Below that is the schedule, and the schedule really is not so much the dates, but the sequence of what we've got. So I've separated the lecture material from the laboratory material, right? So on the top block, you'll see everything we do in Module 1. You see lecture stuff. It's that material that leads to the very first quiz, right? You see Module 2. If you flip down through this, you see Module 2. Those little subjects are the things that accumulate to the next quiz, right? It tells you the type of quiz, too. So the first 2 quizzes you see are multiple choice. How about Module 3? So you can see it starts with population genetics, goes all the way down to, the arrival of the early Australopithecine adaptive radiation. Is the first hominid things that walk, by the way. And that's also another multiple choice quiz, and bam, it shows you all the information you need to have or should have studied for that quiz. And that's why I separate the lecture from the lab, cleanly like that, so you know what to do. And correspondingly, the laboratory materials on the stuff below, so you know what's going to be happening leading to the first laboratory quizzes. Now, when those are going to occur are going to be dated in the modules. The modules have the dates due, right? So let's click on the module link and have a look, right? At least on the first 2 modules, see what's coming up at you, right? So you should be looking at Module 1, and you can see the meet and greet. That's that little 5-point thing. We get to meet each other, and pass pictures around and tell you what you've been doing this summer and what you think about online classes. That 5 points to the 20th, right? So you got about a week to do that one. And the first quiz, right? The first, 100-point quiz we've got coming up is on the 15th. And roughly about a month from now, we'll have our first lecture quiz. And that's also when the first extra credit assignment is due. I didn't tell you about that, but there are 2 extra credit assignments worth, 10 points each, so a total of 20 points. To sort of offset, some of your, stress and anxieties about not getting the grade you want in the class. I'll throw extra credit with you to help you out and do whatever I can to get you over those grade hurdles if there's going to be an issue. But I would plan on trying to do those just to ensure. And they're just viewing assignments. There's some really good films, asking some interesting things about human biology or evolution that you might not have been aware of, from seeing these films from the first time. But after the information I present, you should be able to aware that there's something deeper happening in some of the scores of the writing in these films, right? So when we finish the first exam, on September 15th, we go into Module 2, and there you see we're going to start the first real lab. So the lab book, really is something we're not going to get into until October 13th. But, I want you to try to get a little earlier than that so you don't forget about it, okay? Don't forget about that, because I've had students like, I forgot to get the lab book, and now we're on the first lab, and they're weeks gone behind, and now they're behind on it. So make sure you get it by mid-September. I think that's a really good date, okay? So there's Module 2 and when things are due, right? So we have labs 1, 2, and 3. You have a month to work on those. They're due October 13th, and bam, there we have lab quiz number 1, as well as Module 2 lecture quiz happening. And of course, I present you with another additional viewing assignment worth 10 points. So that's sort of the rhythm of how the next 2 modules are going to work too. Predictable. Every month you're going to see a quiz, a little extra credit. A couple of little labs are going to be due, spaced out throughout it, once per month, blended in with some lecture material. And that's pretty much how the course is going to work. So, as far as what these contain, I'm not going to elaborate on those right now because it won't make much sense to you. We actually have to get into it and work on it. That's what we're going to start on right now. So the next thing you want to do is get into lab mechanics, initial viewings, and readings, right? So we're going to start with that. So I want you to, look over that material. And I will be discussing that stuff in our first Zoom meetings, right? So we have 2 components in this class, or 2 lab components, right? Those of you signed up for the Monday, and those of you signed up for the Wednesday, right? So on the Monday, Zoom meetings we're going to have, they're exactly the same as the Wednesdays. And that means this. You can go to either one that you like, okay? So if you're a Wednesday person, you can't make Wednesday, go to Monday. If you're a Monday person and figure out I can't make the Monday, go to the Wednesday. All I need you to do is show up to one Zoom session per week, and it's good. Okay, you're good. So I want to be able to offer you that sort of flexibility. We can at least I can try to accommodate that. In the online world. In the world of the real time, being the synchronous world, where the seats may not be available, that would be an issue. You'd have to stick to your own lab, but we at least can offer some flexibility right now. All right. So that's as much as I wanted to say in this brief introduction, and I'll discuss a lot more as I see you guys in the very first Zoom meeting. Okay, so again, if anything I said did not make sense or any further clarifications, hit me up with the text messages or go over to the inbox and send me a message. All right, guys.